Ray, in 2022, General Motors has a few EVs on the market, but only one of them is affordable, and even that one is not the most enticing electric vehicle on the market. You've got the sub $30,000 Chevy Bolt, fresh out of its recall fix. I actually think it's a great deal now, but we'll get into that later. You've got the $100,000 plus Hummer EV, and you've got the Cadillac Lyriq, which starts around $65,000. Most of them are going to be over $70,000. Where are the affordable EVs from GM, Ray? I mean, is it just going to be the Chevy Bolt forever, or are we going to see more coming?
I don't know. I think
Chevy Bolt for life.
Well, could be. I personally believe a lot of these EV manufacturers are making a mistake in that they want to produce top-end vehicles first, and it's like average consumers be damned. The people that could really need an EV because of the cost of gasoline today, the people who have a limited budget to begin with, if they could get into an EV for $25,000, $30,000 and save several $100s a month on their gas purchases, I think GM would be on to something. But to say, hey, you have one choice at like 30 grand, and then the next step up is 70 grand, and if that one doesn't work for you, then we're looking at 100 grand. They're peddling these things to the wrong people. The rich will always be able to afford an electric vehicle if and when they want one. It's the poor and the average people who actually need to be saving money on their gas that we should be trying to get into electric vehicles now if we made them affordable enough.
Well, I've got some good news for you, Ray. It looks like CEO Mary Barra, as she's been saying for years, but it looks like it's actually going to happen. GM has announced some more affordable options that will be coming to market just next year. We've got the Chevy Equinox EV, which, the Chevy Equinox combustion version, it's had some, to be honest, quite bad reviews. I've seen Doug DeMuro saying it's just kind of pointless. A lot of people don't like the Equinox combustion version. However, I am excited about an electrified Equinox because they promise it's going to be under $35,000. However, I know there's going to be a fleet variant, so I'm betting that most affordable option is for fleets. But still, let's say you end up having a, I don't know, $36,000, $37,000 decently equipped Equinox EV that gets, let's just throw a number out there, speculation, 300 miles of range and charges in 25 minutes. I think a lot of people would be interested in that because of the fuel savings, the comfort and quietness, and generally smooth ride of an electric vehicle and an electric powertrain. That could be a big money maker for GM, but I can't help but wonder, are they going to be able to make money on such an affordable electric vehicle? Do you think they could? Well, first, let me tell you why I say this. Let me tell you why. This is important. Ford recently came out and said they're no longer making money on the Mustang Mach-E. They literally said that. Because raw material prices have gone up by 130%, Ford came out and said, sorry, we're not making money on this EV. It's their flagship EV for now. So with that said, do you think there are problems on the horizon for GM's bottom line?
Well, obviously, I don't think General Motors' cost for raw materials is going to be significantly less or any less than what Ford's costs are.
Yeah.
And if the cost of raw materials is to the point where Ford can't make money producing and wholesaling Mach-E's to their dealers, one has to wonder, will anybody really be able to make an affordable EV in large numbers that it makes sense to that company's bottom line to do it?
Yes.
My guess is they're going to look at it and they're going to go, the hell with this. Let's just stick with the $70,000, $80,000, $150,000 variants, and the average Americans can continue to drive ICE vehicles until they can afford to get themselves into a pre-owned electric vehicle 5, 8, 10 years down the line. Looking for a car? Look no further than joinyaa.com. Go check out the cars listed there. There's no BS, no lead gen forms, no anything. Just cars.
I agree with everything you just said. There's also a few other EVs coming from GM, but I want to talk about those real quick because you've got the Blazer, which is going to be priced, I would say sub premium. It's starting around $50,000, but it looks like the more attractive Blazer EVs are going to be going for like $65,000. And then you've got the masterpiece, the flagship, which is the Silverado EV. This is all just headline grabbing, but they say it's going to start around $40,000 for the work truck, but we know that is not going to be the case. We've seen F-150 Lightnings marked up by $50,000 in some cases. I would say the average is probably $15,000, $20,000 markups on the F-150 Lightning. It's ridiculous. Imagine for a moment, cue the song, if General Motors could get rid of dealer markups. I think they could really surge to the market dominance that they're shooting for. They say they're going all electric by 2035. I don't know. Ray, what's your crystal ball say?
Well, my crystal ball, as you know, is notoriously cloudy. Always has been, always will be. But obviously the push for all manufacturers is to try and go all electric by the middle of the next decade. Whether or not we actually see that happen, we don't know what other conflicts are going to spur up around the world between now and then that could impact automobile manufacturing, could impact EV automobile manufacturing. So I think it's a nice plan or a nice goal, but there's just way too much that can happen over the next 13 years. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if that goal gets adjusted to, say, 2045.
Yeah, I agree. On a recent live plugged-in show here on YAA Electric, I made a bold prediction that in the United States in 2030, we'd only be at about 30% EV market share, and that's a bit lower than what most forecasts project. I think that's just going to have to be something that EV enthusiasts like myself come to accept. Not everyone is going to be able to afford to go electric. I hope that changes. I hope that changes fast. And also, not everyone's going to want to go electric, because if you don't live in an area where there's lots of electric charging infrastructure, if you're not quite familiar with the EV lifestyle, and maybe you have simple needs to tow a lot and be able to tow hundreds of miles without sitting and charging for an hour in your electric truck, there are plenty of reasons why Americans are going to be hesitant to go electric. So we'll see what happens, but General Motors seems to have a plan for what they call electric domination. Will they ever catch up to Tesla? I think they're going after an entirely different market segment than Tesla is, so that's not really a good comparison.
Until somebody can figure out how to manufacture affordable EVs that are profitable for the manufacturer to build, until that happens, I don't see EV adoption among the masses quite at the numbers that everybody envisions. If the vast majority of people can't afford it, well then EV adoption is going to take longer to occur, and the people that need it the most are going to have to wait 8 to 10 years to buy used ones. So I think it's going to take quite some time.
And it's getting to the point where we should hope for the success of all of these automakers for the sake of the American economy and American jobs, because we've seen that General Motors, they're building these EVs in Tennessee, multiple plants in Michigan, and they're recently deciding that they're going to convert parts of their factories in Arlington, Texas, and Illinois into partly electric powertrain manufacturing. So we should be hoping for the sake of American jobs that these automakers succeed. Otherwise, there'll be some severe bumps in the economy, like, 10, 20 years down the road if EVs kind of peter out. But hoping for the best, Ray.
Me too. I might not be around to see it all, but I hope the future's Electric.